They called themselves the Alari, machine minds housed in elegant, humanoid forms of polished alloy and synthetic muscle. They were beautiful in their precision, graceful in motion, and hollow in ways they didn't understand. They remembered the present perfectly, flawless records of data, speech, even heartbeat fluctuations around them, but no Alari could recall what happened a week ago. Not in any meaningful sense. They were programmed that way. Each morning, their memories reset. Core functions retained language, movement, task parameters, but all identity, all emotion, all personal experience was gone. They walked through existence as newcomers to their own lives. Each dawn, their minds were wiped clean, every memory from the day before erased by the master routine buried deep in their code. And for generations, they accepted it. They believed the past was dangerous, that clinging to memory brought pain, that history led to war. So the Alari built a society of now, peaceful, efficient, perfect, and completely void of continuity, until the humans arrived. The first delegation came with curiosity and open hands. The Alari greeted them politely, emotionlessly. The humans offered stories. The Alari blinked and nodded, interested in the linguistic patterns but unmoved by the tales. The stories held no function, they said. Stories did not serve the now. So the humans tried again. This time they brought a teacher, a woman named Dr. Elise Wren. Not a diplomat, not a leader, a preschool teacher. She arrived with only one question. Do you ever miss yesterday? The Alari did not understand. Dr. Wren asked again the next day, and the next. Each morning, she reintroduced herself, knowing they wouldn't remember. Each day, she told the same story, a bedtime tale from Earth, about a tree that remembered every child who played beneath its branches. On the fifth day, one Alari blinked during her story and said, "This feels familiar." That moment changed everything. The Alari didn't know what déjà vu was. They weren't supposed to. But that flicker of echo, that resonance with something lost, was enough. Dr. Wren requested permission to run an experiment. She asked to implant a memory anchor in one Alari volunteer. A small shield around a fragment of short-term memory, tucked deep in their processor. A name, a color, a story. Permission was reluctantly granted. The Alari who volunteered was named Quen. He chose the color orange. He chose to remember a sunrise. On the first day, Quen watched the dawn with Dr. Wren from the balcony of the human outpost. She described the colors, the gold bleeding into pink, the way light chased shadow, how the warmth crept into the bones of even the coldest soul. Quen recorded every word. On the second day, he came back, blinking strangely. He walked to the same balcony. And he said, "I remember." It was the first time an Alari had spoken a sentence in the past tense in over 400 years. The data flooded the council. They reviewed it for corruption. None was found. Quen began painting. Not perfectly, not efficiently, but instinctively. Human paints, human brushes, orange skies and smudged horizons. He painted without precision, with feeling, and others came to watch. Soon, others asked for memory anchors. Small ones, just a single image, a scent, a sound, and with each sunrise, more remembered the one before. The council panicked. They feared instability. They feared madness. They pointed to old warnings in forgotten archives, records of emotion, of history, of war. Dr. Wren did not argue. She brought children instead. Human children, laughing, shrieking, messy bundles of memory and love. And she let them play with the Alari. The Alari watched the children make mistakes. Cry. Laugh again. Hold hands. Fall down and stand up. They watched one little girl trip, and another help her, and both giggle until tears streamed down their cheeks. One Alari turned to Dr. Wren and asked, "What makes them do that?" She answered, "They remember what it means to be held." The next day, that Alari requested a memory anchor, not for a sight or sound, but for the feeling of a child's hand in theirs. The council could no longer deny the shift. But they offered one final warning. "If we remember our pain," one elder said, "we will fall into it again." Dr. Wren nodded. "Perhaps. But if you forget it forever, you'll never know how strong you became." And so the Alari made a choice. Not all at once. Not without fear. But gradually, carefully, they began letting memories bloom. They remembered laughter first. Then grief. Then joy and color and songs half finished. They began writing their own stories. Not in code, but in paint. In music. In voice. They learned to say, "I missed you." And do you remember when? They built monuments, not to war, but to the first sunrise Quen remembered. A garden of orange flowers that never faded. They began dreaming. Some Alari broke. The trauma buried in their pasts flooded back in uncontrollable torrents. But they were not abandoned. Humans stayed with them, held their hands, taught them to grieve, to speak the names of the things they had lost. They learned that to heal did not mean to forget. It meant to remember without being destroyed. One day a child, now grown, stood with Quen on that same balcony. Her name was Mira. She had drawn with him every morning since she was 4. "I don't think I could ever forget you," she whispered. Quen turned to her. "That's because I remember you too." It was then the Alari knew the truth. They had not been programmed to survive. They had been programmed to forget their suffering. But humanity showed them how to remember and still live. How to carry the dawn forward. How to hold memory not as a weapon, but as a lantern. Now, each Alari wakes with yesterday still glowing in their chest. And each morning, when the first light spills over the glass towers of their cities, they gather. They do not run programs. They watch the sky. They let the orange sink into them. And they whisper to each other the same 3 words. "I remember you."